full agenda today. So we are going to, usually we do kind of a quick round robin for new members that are coming on just to introduce themselves. We're going to save that for last if there's time. Let's see, we are recording. All of these meetings are available on our website. So if you're a member of our website, you can go on there into the members only section and watch these meetings. Let's see. Oh, and so the Senate Committee on Agriculture, Conservation and Natural Resources was supposed to start meeting at 12:30. And as of right now, they have not started yet, but the balloon bill and the EPS bill are both up for vote sometime this afternoon. So I may have to hop off because I'll be speaking for the balloon bill. So I just want to give you all the heads up. Katie, did you want to do the quick?
Sure. Yes. First, I wanted to remind you all, please go into the chat box. It's on the bottom center part of your screen, and click on chat. And then in the chat box, type your name and what group you're with or what group you're representing. That's kind of a way that we help understand who's on the phone call with us. And also, please keep your camera on mute until you're speaking, and that will help us keep down the background noises. So just a reminder as to who the Virginia Plastic Pollution Network is. The network is, yes. The network seeks to foster collaboration, cooperation, communication, and information sharing amongst all the very many people in Virginia who are working on plastic pollution prevention. So that's what the network's all about. And that we're glad that you are here today. And now Christina from Ecomaniac, one of the co-founders of the network. The other two co-founders are Clean Virginia Waterways, where I work, and also the Virginia Coastal Zone Management Program at DEQ. But at this point, Christina is going to introduce our first of many short time speakers. Go ahead.
Yeah, so our first few speakers are just, we've got Tom Griffin with Virginia Green and Tracy from Keep Virginia Beautiful giving us some event updates. And then we've got Jake from earthday.org who's going to tell us all about earthday.org and what's going on with Earth Day this year. So Tom, why don't you go first, because I know you have to get off of here, and I will share screen with your website.
Great.
There we go.
Yeah, so hi everybody. While she's pulling that up, yeah, I'm the director of the Virginia Green Travel Alliance. And so we are the 501c3 that pushes sustainable tourism forward in Virginia. And we're kind of the secondary growth of the state-based partnership that created the Virginia Green Program almost 13 years ago now. And so we evolved into a 501c3. But we've been having this kind of the best thing we probably do is our awards at our annual conference. And we've been doing this will be our 8th year, our 2nd time virtually. And we pulled it off last year, and we've got all the bells and whistles this year with breakout rooms and all that type of stuff. And by the way, Christina is one of our board members, as well as Tracy Leverty, who's speaking later. And but there again is our conference. It's April 28th and 29th. Better, stronger, resilient together. You know, really just touching on all the themes of tourism and what it's gone through as far as COVID is concerned, and certainly, you know, dealing with the various other social and environmental justice issues of the day. And we're going to hit on all of those. I just got confirmation from one of our keynotes from REI, really looking at, you know, I know we're going to talk about this a little bit later today, but really looking at the environmental impacts of all this great new outdoor activity and recreational opportunities that the entire world has been taking advantage of. But there have also been some ups and downs, some downs on the environment as well due to that. But certainly we'll be talking about single-use plastics again in the VP3N and you know, the resiliency of, and we have Rita McClenny, the head of tourism. She's going to be giving the full-on message about the resiliency of the industry And we have Nathan Burrell, we have the folks, great folks from this awesome organization called Black Folks Camp 2, really addressing the positive opportunities moving forward relative to environmental justice. So anyhow, it's going to be a great show. I hope you guys will look at our website a little bit more and think about coming. So I appreciate it. Thanks for the time, Christina.
Thanks, Tom. I have two screens going and sometimes I lose my mouse, so there's a delay. Our next update is coming from Tracy Leverty of Keep Virginia Beautiful.
Good afternoon, everyone. I have to just plug, as a board member and a good friend of Tom's, that is a fantastic conference that he just talked about. And honestly, it didn't lose anything by being virtual. If it were, there was an extra element to it that made it really cool. It's a great conference, and I encourage everybody to take part in it if they can. I'm going to probably be repeating myself to a few of you, but hopefully there's some new folks out there. Shiver in Virginia is Keep Virginia Beautiful's early spring fundraiser that is in place of Shiver in the River. If you're familiar with that, it's that event where we get together, 500, 600 people clean up, then we do a 5K and jump in the river this year. Due to COVID restrictions, clearly we are doing something different. It is a month-long effort where we're encouraging everyone, wherever they are, to get out every day if they can and do a beautiful act. We're encouraging folks to give us a $20 donation that gets them a free Virginia State Parks parking pass. And then there's an extra little bonus that you get if you would like to participate and show off all the good deeds that you do. We've got a cool website. It's called My Virtual Challenge, and it's a way that people can upload their good deeds, and we can watch Virginia getting cleaner and greener virtually one day at a time and celebrate at the end. Lots of cool prizes that makes that a really fun thing to be involved in. So we encourage everybody to get involved. If you have any questions whatsoever, I will put the link in the chat. The web page is up. You can go on and make your donation today, and you will end up getting a code when it goes active on February 27th, loading and recording your beautiful acts. So I think that's all I have. If anyone has questions.
Jake Rubenstein is with earthday.org. We were talking about beach cleanups on a conference call a few days ago, and he mentioned that Earth Day Network or earthday.org has resources, and I also wanted to hear more about the network itself and you know, what you guys are up to and what's coming up for Earth Day. Thanks, Jake.
Yeah, thank you, Christina. So yeah, we have a lot of things coming up for Earth Day. We have a Earth Day live event, which will include webinars, TED Talk style talks from different presenters. It's all still being in the works right now, but there will be a lot of news, especially in March. March is a big, publicity month for us. We'll be blowing everything up from there. My particular role is the campaign manager of the Great Global Cleanup Campaign. It is our volunteer-based cleanups campaign. And this year, we are doing as much as we can to still be global about it. But of course, with the pandemic, things have become tricky, and trying to, navigate the different like guidelines that come with every country, city, or municipality has become very difficult. So we thought that it would be a great time actually to look more inwards towards the US and try to identify communities and places that we thought would be good to target for cleanups. And one of them that we have come across is just Virginia Beach. And we are hoping to work in Virginia Beach in order to do 1 to 2 cleanups. And we are willing to work with people in order to strategize how we want to do that, because it can take many different forms. There can be a virtual cleanup. There can be where it's like individuals all reporting back to one place. Or my personal preference, I like the idea of doing phases of cleanups. So have a safe amount of people go out, do a cleanup for maybe an hour, and then have another group for another hour. So it's kind of limiting the people that are there at one time. but it also creates this way where you can be more effective as a larger group as a whole. And yeah, one of our real goals is to help organize these cleanups and then use the cleanups, the pictures, the videos in order to tell a little bit of like stories and do publicity for the organizations that we're working with, but also the communities that we're working in. I think it's really important to discuss why are there needs for cleanups in certain areas, what can be done, and how can we help the communities that we would be working in. So that's essentially it. Virginia Beach isn't the only place we're working at, and it's not the only one we want to. It's just that it's one of our targets. However, I'm open to working with anyone, anywhere in order to get these cleanups done. So yeah, thank you for the time, and I am open to questions, or I can leave my email in the chat. So if anyone has any inquiries, feel free to email me as well. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Jake. This is Katie Register. I'm with Clean Virginia Waterways. And I was wondering if the cleanup you organize also include gathering data, like how many cigarette butts, how many bottles, how many of each item are being found?
Yeah, that's a great question. So that's actually something we're working on in a few different phases. So there is data online or research that has been done where you can essentially get an estimate of weight of waste collected through the type of bags you're using, the size of the bags. Of course, it's not perfect because every bag's gonna weigh different, but you can get solid estimates. So something we're working on right now is trying to get people to say which size bag they use, how many bags did you clean up, and that way we can give you the estimate of how much waste you've cleaned up. And in addition to that, we are working on an app called, well, the name's going to change very soon because we put 2020 in the name to start with, which probably wasn't a good idea.
Mm-hmm.
But Earth Challenge 2020 is an app that has several different widgets, and one of them is going to be a cleanup. And in that widget, you'll be able to take a picture of before and after, tell us exactly the weight. And also we're working in kind of an accountability side of things where you can identify the most prominent brands of the waste that you were picking up. And in doing so, you can kind of hold the companies accountable that are benefiting so much from, you know, the single-use products that they're creating.
Great. Yeah, I asked because there are some apps that we're already using in Virginia. So whatever data you collect, we'd love to know about. And actually, that's going to be a topic for this network later on this year, is talking about, like, I organize the International Coastal Cleanup throughout Virginia. We get thousands of volunteers through lots of local events. And we use the Clean Swell app, which is organized by Ocean Conservancy. And actually, we're going to have somebody speaking from Ocean Conservancy in a few minutes. But there's other online apps. But we definitely want to talk later this year about taking all the data that's coming from all these different great events and seeing if we can't get a clearer picture of what kind of trash we're dealing with in Virginia.
Certainly. And we actually have a registration form that works through our GIS system that by filling out the registration form, it will populate our interactive map with a data point. And originally we started it as a source of look at out all the cleanups in your community. Maybe there's one near you and go by. But with the pandemic right now, we are not really encouraging people to show up to quote unquote like random cleanups. It's more like make sure that you're involved ahead of time. But we do also collect through that like max number of participants. So all that data will also be coming in. And yeah, any cleanups that happen in Virginia, I would be happy to collect the data for the participants and be able to share it with you guys.
Great, thank you. Any other questions for Jake about?
I have one. This is Karen Forget, and we do about 15 cleanups a year in Virginia Beach, and we do collect data. We also weigh every bag, so we have weight records for the year. And the committee that we have that organizes all of these cleanups keeps a list of locations. So we have some that we clean up regularly, and then we have others that are on the list for less regular kind of cleanup. They need less regular cleanups. But if you're looking for locations, we can probably help you identify some locations. But we do already do probably 15 cleanups a year at least in Virginia Beach.
Yeah, that sounds great. And it's our only goal isn't to plan like completely separate cleanups, but also just work with organizations that are doing it themselves and be able to, you know, kind of partner on it and then use our network in order to talk about the people, the organization, and really do the international like PR that we're capable of as like a large organization. And doing so, we believe that it can drive awareness towards the people that are cleaning up and hopefully create some sort of behavior change where people are inspired to do it themselves, but also drive attention to organizations that are doing good work and hopefully benefit them as well.
Well, and we have also developed some COVID parameters for how to do cleanups during this time period. So we've been doing them differently during this past year and have developed, you know, some COVID safety parameters for it that I'd be happy to share with you.
Yeah, and we have done that as well. And I'd be happy to share ours with you just so you can take a look at it. And, you know, if you see anything that you like, feel free to use it. But yeah, we have in our resource page on, so the website for the Great Global Cleanup is cleanup.earthday.org. And there you'll be able to find resources, registration page, things about our Earth Day coming up, which the theme is Restore Our Earth this year. So if you give that a look, I can put in the link in the chat as well, if anyone wants to take a look at that.
Any other questions? No. Thank you, Jake. I just out of caution, since we might have lost our last chat room, I don't know if we'll be able to get that because we cut off so quickly. Can we get everybody to sign in the chat room again? Just your name and the organization that you're with. That way we have a record of everyone who's on the call. Let's see. So the next thing on our agenda was the meeting time poll. We had 9 people participate. We did a poll to see if this meeting time was appropriate for everyone to maximize, you know, the number of people that could attend these meetings. And out of the 9 responses, I think 8 of the responses were to keep it where it is. So Katie, am I right about that? I'm pretty sure that's what I read.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So we're going to keep it where it is. We're going to continue on with, what are we at? Third Tuesdays at 2 o'clock. And so our next meeting will be March 16th.
Right. Right. And if anyone cannot join, of course, we do record the meetings to be viewed later. And if you cannot attend and you've got something you want to share, you can always do it through our monthly announcements, the email that goes out to all members. Or you can let us know and we'll read your announcement for you. So sorry for those of you who can't work out third Tuesday at 2 p.m. So I guess the next thing on our busy agenda for today is we're going to have a quick update on legislation that's been working its way through the Virginia General Assembly. And I don't know if we want to have Mark talk about one and you talk about the other, Christina, or?
Mark, are you up for it?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nothing like putting you on the spot.
That's all right. So for those of you that have been following this at all, we've got several plastic related bills in the Virginia General Assembly this year. 2 of them are up for review today in the Senate Agriculture Committee. Those are the bill to ban expanded polystyrene or styrofoam food, the sort of fast food containers, takeout containers. And then the second bill is one to ban intentional balloon releases outdoors. So those are the two bills that'll be heard today in the Senate Ag Committee, and it's going to start at some point today after their general session finishes. We're all sort of on hold waiting for that to happen. The good news on both bills is they passed out of the House, so and that's why they're being heard now by the Senate committee. If they are able to come out of this committee, they will then go to the full Senate for a vote. There's still challenges ahead. We don't have a lot of Republican support for these bills, and so that's going to be the challenge today and potentially even in the full Senate. But we're feeling good. We've done a lot of outreach. I know several of us have signed up to speak today when the bills come up for review in the committee. So I think that's where we're at. I don't know if there is one other bill that is being discussed. It has to do with a process that the proponents of are trying to call advanced recycling, but it's really these are chemical conversion plants. And that bill is going to be heard tomorrow in the House Ag Committee, and it's already passed the Senate. The good news was a companion version of it did not pass the House, and it's going back to the same committee. So the hope is that we can put this aside for now, because it's sort of an untested and not very environmentally friendly, particularly from the standpoint of climate change technology. Basically, it takes plastic waste, and not necessarily the plastic waste that's coming off of your, out of your waterways and out of your streets. It's taking other plastic waste and chemically converting it into fuel and to additional plastics. And proponents of it are the American Chemistry Council, the fossil fuel industry, et cetera. So it's really not a solution to plastic pollution by any means. And anyway, that bill is being heard tomorrow, and there's a lot of opposition against it as well, mainly because it's kind of being rushed through without a lot of real scrutiny about the impacts of these plants and what they may what the ramifications of having those in your neighborhood would be. So I'm going to stop there, and unless Christine wants to add anything or anybody else wants to add anything.
I'll add that I just got a text that the session just ended. The Senate session just adjourned at 2:30. And but it's uncertain whether the committee is still going to try to meet at 3 o'clock or adjourn until 9 tomorrow morning. So who knows? We may speak this afternoon and we may not.
Right. Which is great, because that'll mean it overlaps with the committee that's hearing the other bills.
Exactly. The
Oh, well.
House committee. Yeah.
Yeah. Life in the virtual General Assembly, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, great. Thank you, Mark.
You're welcome.
Does anyone have any questions about some of these legislative attempts to deal with plastic pollution?
Go ahead, Gretchen.
I was just typing in the chat. If you go to Litter Free Virginia, there's a pretty easy action to follow. It is a letter to your senator or your House rep for the chemical conversion one. And I was just going to put that in the chat, that it's really easy to do, and you have to do it before tomorrow, but I encourage everyone to do it.
Thank you. I might point out too that a company has proposed to build one of these plants in Cumberland County, which is about an hour west of Richmond and an hour or closer to Charlottesville. And this bill would basically take away a lot of the oversight that most waste management companies have to work under. So yeah, so you're right. Litterfreevirginia.org is a great starting point. All right. Any other thoughts, comments, questions about what we just heard?
I did start a Facebook group page. It's called Ban Balloon Releases in Virginia, and we've been posting about the balloon bill specifically on that page. It's got more than 200 followers at this point, and that's been a big help, I think, to get the letters. We shared the Environment Virginia kind of petition that would send a letter directly to their senators. So I think that makes it a lot easier for people to get involved in the process. So it's actually, I think, been pretty effective for this bill, and I would recommend it for the future for other types, bills like this. That's all I have. If that's it on legislative update, thank you, Mark, for letting me put you on the spot. So our special topic for this month is going to be pandemic litter. And I know, Mike, you said you had to get off the call early. Would it be okay if Mike kind of talks about his program first?
Sure.
Sorry.
Yeah, Mike, do you have any visuals you want to share? Because we can have you share your screen if so.
No, ma'am, no visuals.
Okay.
I didn't know if we needed to. I was going to share our numbers basically for our programs. During the numbers I'm going to relay are from March, essentially March through January 30th. That was the data that was secured for an article that's coming out. But during that period, we did have a end of March through June, we ended up shutting down the program. So the numbers also don't reflect us taking data during that period because of COVID and the governor's executive orders. We didn't want to give the perception that we were okay with groups larger than what was out there at the time. So we just basically told our groups that we weren't going to take any of their data. So, and we didn't accept the data really afterwards as well. So that being said, during that period, we had 79 active adopter groups. And we had a total, again, this is the data that we were able to collect and take, but we had 352 cleanups during that period. We had a little over 15,000 pounds from the adoptive programs groups, and that was about 2,378 volunteer hours. We did have additionally 5 targeted cleanups, which is very, very low for us, but we added an additional 94 pounds and 244 hours for those 5 targeted cleanups. I will say that to give a nod to Lynnhaven River Now, they had 31 of those 352 cleanups, and out of the 15, again, talking with Helen Coons, they have done more cleanups, but what we were able to collect as far as data from them, we collected 31 cleanups from them, and what we were able to collect for numbers were over 6,000 pounds of trash collected by them out of our 15,000 pounds. So essentially they did more than 30% of our collection. So, in talking with Helen as well, we were aware that they did way more in Virginia Beach and in general. So we just legally weren't allowed to take it. So Karen, thank you. And that's why those numbers are a reflection a little bit lower than what you guys have. So yeah, I mean, for us, it was a really good, it was a surprise. Our groups, I think, got tired of sitting at home, and a lot of individuals went out and did a lot of small cleanups. We got a lot of more local neighborhood cleanups, even though they might have adopted a park or a street or road a little bit further. We allowed them we gave a little bit more leeway for them this year. So our numbers were low all the way around. However, they weren't extremely low. So it was good to see that. And then a lot of our numbers typically come from large cleanups like Clean the Bay Day and Great American Cleanup. Other, internet, we were hoping and looking forward to working with the aquarium for the International Coastal Cleanup this past year. So we're still in conversation with Mark and Surfrider Foundation to kind of partner and maybe add a larger international coastal cleanup as well. So, but we're just kind of waiting on COVID. But that was us. It was a good surprise this year for us. We thought we were going to be really down, but it was actually much better than we anticipated.
Great.
that is it.
Great. Any questions for Mike about what they've done? I mean, did you, Mike, did you collect data that would include anything about masks or single-use gloves?
So we're in the process of trying to compile that information. We, in most cases, don't do a litter index, but we have in some, in one of the targeted cleanups we did, but we thought if we're going to do one and we index what we find in one, I mean, that's not really enough to tell good data from one cleanup. We're asking the groups to kind of identify and start to index. We're getting mixed information back from those groups, but we are finding a lot of masks. Masks are quickly becoming a top item. But you know, your top items, your plastic bottles, your caps, your trash, your plastic bags, your cigarette butts, they're the top items. We are starting to see surprisingly more glass items. We're seeing more glass than we have in the past years. I was out on a site. I'm giving a presentation next week at the Turfgrass Council conference, Come to the Bay, on litter. And just yesterday when I was out at one of our sites, it was plastic bags and glass. Surprisingly, the glass is showing back up. So
That's interesting. Yeah, we're doing a little analysis that shows the amount of glass and metal has gone down over the last 25 years, while plastic has gone up.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I found some data, and today I was researching, I found some data that showed that glass and metals were top 5 this past year. So I don't know. You know, I'm skeptical of it, but I'm trying to research more to see if there's other avenues of information out there that say the same thing. But the metals, you know, I don't know what they were including, if it was construction metal and debris, or if it was small, like aluminum can metal. You know, I don't know what they were including. That information wasn't present, but yeah, the glass surprised us for what we've been seeing. So, but yeah, you're correct. Plastic is number 1.
Yeah.
So.
Well, great. Anyone else have questions? So they know, Mike, you can't stay with us for the whole meeting. Any questions on a local level of PPE litter?
No, I will say, if you allow me to get this plug into Mark, if Mark's listening, we definitely want to get together on that international coastal cleanup and see what we can do. So, and we are still trying to work out whenever you guys are ready for the e-cycle event, just let us know, because we'll group up, tie in. We've already committed to that. So you just tell us when.
Yeah, you're on the list. We're like everybody. We're just waiting for when we can actually, you know, start back up again. These events are they're very labor intensive, many of them, and they're very volunteer centric. So I mean, you know, we basically, most of the labor is volunteers. We're often working in really close quarters. So the pandemic has really not allowed us to do much with that. On a little side note, we actually recycle our gloves, you know, our gloves that we use at the aquarium. And in this past year, we recycled more than 60,000 gloves. And I think it was up a little bit because of the pandemic, because everybody was wearing gloves to do all the cleaning that we're doing at the aquarium and all these other things. But anyway, I just thought that was a little interesting side note. I'm talking about, you know, PPE stuff. That, you know, that's one thing you can recycle. It's a specialty recycling stream, so you actually have to pay for it. But we chose to do that, and a few years ago we didn't just do it for the pandemic. But I just noticed that it seemed like there was more gloves than usual because of all the cleaning that everybody's been doing, and that number just stuck out.
And Mark, there was a question just in the chat room. What's the company you work with to recycle your? Are they latex or?
Yeah, they'll take any of those gloves, latex, nitrile. They'll take any of those, and it's TerraCycle.
Okay, so TerraCycle in New Jersey.
Yep.
Yes, they take a lot of hard to recycle plastics, but you do have to pay.
There's a few things they'll recycle. Believe it or not, there's a few things they'll recycle for free when they're running these different programs, and one of them is cigarette butts. So if you're interested in recycling cigarette butts, they'll do it, and that won't cost you anything. But But yeah, we have two specialty recycling streams, gloves, and we recycle all of our snack and candy bar wrappers and snack bag wrappers. Those are the two things we do with TerraCycle. We chose those because they were the only things in our food service area that weren't either recyclable or compostable in the normal channels.
So Mark, do you gather them together and then when you
Yeah,
get it?
you have to collect them and then pack them in a box, and then they essentially you pay for the box and they send it, and it's already, and then the box is prepaid shipping. So you get the box, and then once you fill it up, and of course you stuff it full as you can possibly stuff it, and then once you fill it up, you send it away. And because we wanted to track it, we did some experiments early on, so we said how many gloves are in a pound, because we can weigh the box, but you don't really know how many snack wrappers or things are in a pound. So we did some experiments and got some good averages. And then now we just weigh the boxes when we ship them out, and that's the way we get a count for the number of individual items that we're recycling. So we have a count for our candy wrappers and snack bags, and we have a count for our gloves based on that model.
Okay, great. Well, as we were talking about PPE litter, we thought we'd have a national view, which is going to be Sarah from Ocean Conservancy in a minute, and then a local view, which was Mike. So I'm in the middle talking about what we've found on the statewide level. So I'm with Clean Virginia Waterways, and we organize the International Coastal Cleanup in Virginia, and we've done it now for 26 years. This year, of course, because of the pandemic, we had a much smaller effort. I'd say roughly about a third. Normally we have 6,000 to 8,000 volunteers throughout the state, and this time it's going to be a little over 2,000, which we still have a tiny bit of data to enter. So Sarah, I need to talk to you about that. But we did definitely find some PPE litter this year, gloves and masks, and I'm trying right now to share my screen with you briefly. Probably what we've seen is what many of you have seen, masks that are discarded. Can you guys see those images now? Yes, okay. Masks of all kinds, both the single use as well as fabric ones. We found them starting as soon as the pandemic started. Here's a cleanup we did in Farmville. This parking lot behind a restaurant, actually PPEs were in the top 5 items. I mean, they were right up there with plastic cups and plastic bottles and cigarette butts. We think a lot of it was possibly employees of the restaurant because so much of the gloves were all in one little area. So we did go in and we had a conversation with the manager about proper disposal. But most of the masks we've found are parking lots at restaurants and hotels and grocery stores, huge, and hospitals. I actually had to go to a hospital to visit a family member, and I was rather amazed at how many gloves and masks were in the parking lot, especially the guest portion of the parking lot. So obviously we've got some education to do about proper disposal. I'm sure Sarah, I'm going to jump in and say that we're really thankful that the Ocean Conservancy this year added PPEs. I circled it in red there. So single-use gloves and masks were actually on the International Coastal Cleanup data sheet this year. Also, they were added to the smartphone app, CleanSwell. And we did appreciate that because it helped us get a number here in Virginia. We ended up with over 550 people, or 550 items were recorded by our volunteers. And the masks are in fact partly plastic. This is a 3-layer single-use disposable mask. And you see that the outer layer is high quality, 100% polypropylene, and the layer that's closest to your face is also polypropylene plastics. So one of the messages that we've tried to get out a lot as far as preventing this type of litter is dispose of them correctly. Some people are saying make sure you cut the elastic on the bands, but our bigger message has been dispose of them correctly like you would any other piece of litter or any other piece of trash, sorry. And another big thing that we're pushing, I've spoken to a few people who work at wastewater treatment plants, and they're finding some of these are being flushed down toilets. So the couple of times that I've been interviewed by media on this issue, I always try to get that message in, don't flush. These are plastic, and they are, our wastewater treatment plants are not made to accept this kind of plastic, which is actually a good lesson all around to let people know that trash does not go into a toilet. Toilets are not trash cans. So yes, we saw them. Yes, we recorded them. And yes, we are doing our best to educate people about correct disposal. So are there any questions for me about what we found on the Virginia level? I did want to share one other thing with you. We did also, as Karen mentioned from Lynnhaven River Now, is we also came up with COVID guidelines for doing cleanups. From the obvious, if you're sick, stay home. But we're also encouraging small cleanups. We had actually, I haven't done the math yet, but our cleanups used to average about 40, 50 people, from the big cleanups over 200 to the smaller cleanups of just a family. This year, the average definitely went down. We were encouraging smaller groups so that they could stay away from each other, social distancing. But we created these safety guidelines that included a lot of COVID information. And this is on our website. Any questions or thoughts? I'd be happy to answer. Okay, well, then it's time for our next speaker, Sarah Kohler with the Ocean Conservancy. She helps run the International Coastal Cleanup throughout the entire world, and is a great asset, and we are in touch all the times when we've got questions. So Sarah, tell us what you found on the national and I guess international level.
Yeah, thank you. I do have a couple of slides, Katie or Christina, if I can share my screen.
Yes.
It's okay if not.
No, I'll make it happen. All right, you are now a co-host, so you can do it.
There we go. Okay, hopefully you guys see a PowerPoint slide.
Yes.
I promise I only have 5 of these. I just figured it's easier than hearing just from me talking at you, just to have some more visuals. And I do have some stats to share, again, kind of to echo Katie and to what Mike said too. We're also still gathering preliminary data. And I just first want to say hello. I'm Sarah Kohler. I'm the outreach manager of the ICC at Ocean Conservancy, and I'm new to this network, so I'm really excited. And this is my first call that I've been on, so it's nice to meet a lot of you and see a couple familiar faces. But I am going to speak briefly about what Ocean Conservancy has done to pivot essentially in the last 12 months as the pandemic really took hold here in the US and then of course abroad as well. Some stats here, just astronomical increase in the amount of PPE that we've all been using as a result of this pandemic. So obviously that's going to have an impact and a ripple effect, and not too surprising for many of us that these items are now showing up out in the environment and in our waterways that we're cleaning. So as Katie mentioned, we did our best to adapt as quickly as we could at Ocean Conservancy, and we did have the benefit of our annual International Coastal Cleanup is in September. So that gave us a few more months to plan, and we did have the summer months to adapt. And the first thing that we did was update our data collection mobile app CleanSwell to include a specific category of trash, of litter that volunteers could use to record the gloves, masks, and PPE that they're finding. So we did that in about August, that really rolled out. And then as Katie showed nicely, we were able to update the PDF of our paper data card, but of course we have a lot of printed data cards in storage that we're still using. And just so you all know, future prints of that paper data card, if that's a preferred method, that will continue to have PPE on it, as we will be dealing with this litter item for years to come. And Ocean Conservancy recently is trying to take a retrospective look at the last year. And on top of the just sheer PPE litter data that we've been slowly getting in, we also wanted to ask folks about anecdotal information as well. So we do have this fantastic network of volunteers that we thought we'd tap into, and cleanup leaders like Katie and Clean Virginia Waterways, plus a network of coordinators all over the world. And we really just wanted to capture those stories and glean more information from this moment in time as we're all dealing with PPE on varying levels around the world. So our goal next month, we've kind of stopped this survey, had a few hundred responses, pretty good response rate in terms of our surveys. And we are going to be publishing a report, probably just an electronic report next month, kind of marking that 1 year anniversary of when COVID really hit the US in earnest. So keep an eye out for that. And I'll of course share it with this network here once we have like a media page for it on Ocean Conservancy's website. Just some preliminary gathering of information from that survey. I think we've all touched on this, and it's no surprise, masks are cropping up as the item that most volunteers and cleanup organizers have been finding at their cleanups. No surprise, as this is one of the more commonly used PPE items universally. And it is interesting, we are asking some questions about disposable versus reusable masks to kind of get at that notion that a lot of this, or a portion of this is probably accidental loss as well. So we wanted to try to capture that, and just asking some other information or asking for other information, such as around how many PPE items have you found per cleanup site, or where are you seeing them at the cleanup site? Like Katie just mentioned, parking lots, we're thinking that's going to be the higher count there. But these masks are lightweight, they're lightweight plastic, so they're likely to float for a given amount of time. We're uncertain. So really, we're just kind of in that information gathering phase to get this baseline understanding and also geographic reach of how many partners in X number of countries that participate in the ICC, how many recorded PPE at all. In some, it seems far off for us here in the US, but in some, they have really had COVID under control and they aren't really experiencing this type of litter, or they're getting it from other countries. So we're trying to capture all of that. And so the preliminary stats from our database, we'll have a hard number next month with our report, but over 70,000 individual PPE items have been recorded worldwide. And the report will do a breakdown of countries and also US states too. A lot of this obviously is opportunistically collected, and it's in locations where we have really strong ICC partners to begin with. And I should note that, as Katie mentioned, with how the ICC ran in Virginia, that is on theme with how it ran for most of our network. Globally, everything spanned from people being able to do cleanups per normal to having to cancel altogether. But the vast majority of our network really did work with COVID mandates in place locally and just followed safety guidelines and promoted small, safe, socially distant cleanup events. So we were really grateful to be able to lean on CleanSwell as that data collection tool for us, as getting regular supplies out to folks was more challenging last year. And when people ask us, what can we do? We're seeing all this PPE litter, what else can be done? We, to echo again what Katie had mentioned and Mike too, we tell people stay vigilant with your own PPE that you're using, right? We can't really make any recommendations beyond on what type of PPE to use. It's all gonna vary and it changes daily. So we just encourage people to keep an eye on where you have your mask, make sure it's not falling out of a pocket or a purse. If you have a disposable mask and you need to get rid of it, put it in a bin with a lid. Don't put it in an overflowing bin. I mean, it's all of these messaging points that we all already know and tell our networks anyway about disposing of waste and plastic waste properly. So it's all along that same theme. We're starting to pivot more towards, because we're finding so much PPE litter in parking lots, looking at messaging that we can encourage to folks on, have a trash bag maybe in your car, in your vehicle with you, and put those items that, you might not want in your car, just keep them in there, save them until you get home, and then dispose of them properly. And again, the audience there of staff at these restaurants, hotels, grocery stores, things like that too, just equipping them with the knowledge and some of the tools that they might be lacking to help reduce PPE litter in their parking lots. And then, of course, we encourage people, if they can get out, to safely do cleanups at any time of the year. Utilize CleanSwell, keep adding to our data that we're collecting. It's incredibly helpful. It's informing this baseline understanding of where PPE litter stands globally, and hopefully will help us as we stabilize and overcome this pandemic. But yeah, if there are any questions, I think that was my last slide. Yeah, so here's my contact information. And Katie and Christina have it as well. Thank you, guys.
Great, thank you so much for that overview. Anyone have questions about the International Coastal Cleanup in the world, in the United States, and what they're finding?
I threw my email in the chat there too, so I realized I stopped sharing my screen pretty quick.
Okay, thank you. Yes. Yeah, I think we're seeing, as Mike mentioned, some people just need to get outside, and it's a rewarding experience. I know David Singleton, are you on again? Yes, you are. So briefly, would you tell us what your Boy Scouts learned and how enthused they were?
Okay. Yes, we always have had a couple of stray troops that have a cleanup. I had 3 that had a regular cleanup area, an adopt a spot kind of thing. They would hit them 4 times a year. But we decided to spread the effort this last year and the year of the COVID and see if we could make it grow, generally working in groups of less than 10. So we had 30 cleanups. We had 3 units, not counted in that count, 3 units do it 3 times. We have our one of our ships, which has Sea Scouts in it. It did 3 kayak cleanups. So that's a particular benefit because they get the hard to get stuff that the people on land can't get at. So that has gone well. Since Christmas, we've had 3 cleanups. And another thing that's remarkable is the education process in it. 10 days ago, we had what we were doing was putting up birdhouses. I had 5 birdhouses and a owl box that was going up at the Hampton Roads Sanitation District pump station, or sewage treatment station. And they turned around and asked me for the trash bag, suspecting I would have them with the grabbers, those really cool ones with the orange grabbers and everything. And I said, sure enough, I've got them right here in my truck. And that's all I had to say, and hand them out. And they went about their business of automatically cleaning it up. So it's ingrained in some of them now, and they're taking the cow by the horns and going to work after it and getting after it. And I have a discussion after it every time. It may only be 2 or 3 minutes, but I say, let's examine the trash. And then we talk about where that trash came from. And of course, they all know it's going to the river, subsequently the Chesapeake Bay. So they're getting used to that. I had to turn away people at this last Saturday when we were doing it because all we could handle was 20 people with hard hats and stuff like that. So we're growing a regular following of people who want to participate in litter cleanups. So real rewarding. Good to see that acceptance. So that's really cool to do. And then I've got a question over here. Somebody's asking about their ship. And what I'm going to do is send you to our ship 1610 is what I will do, Yvonne, so that you can talk to this guy. He's a terrific guy. I think he does it now probably 6 times a year because the kids love getting in kayaks. They've got about 12 kayaks and they get after it, do a good job.
David, would you put your email address in the chat box for anyone who wants to contact you? But I think
that's the best way to get a hold of me. 1, I live by email, and 2, then I can attach the thing and get it done.
Right.
So
But I think
always
it's a
the
great
best way.
story about how the scouts really got excited about getting out in small groups, doing something meaningful. And on many of those cleanups, they did collect data as part of the International Coastal Cleanup. So it's a win-win-win, win for them, win for the environment, and win for us because that data really makes a difference. And Sarah,
Well, one more thing, Katie. I got inspired by the Keep Virginia Beautiful people. And the local group here, which is Ask HR Green, Hampton Roads Green is what it is. And I saw a picture go by showing cigarette butts. And these cigarette butts are 2 feet long, 4 inches in diameter. So I saw the picture and I got on to the local recycling guy and I said, hey, tell me about this. And he gave me the information. I went out and bought it. And after a couple hours of work, I've got my own 5 butts that I can display with a sign. I need a bigger sign with a sign saying, pick up your butts. So I put that out in each case now too. I've already used it 3 times, a rain barrel project where we're recycling plastic barrels to go. That's done 174 times now. We've gone into houses doing it. That's Eagle Projects. And so we put the display out there so people see it, so we can wake them up a little bit about cigarette butts.
right.
So that's a cool gimmick.
Christina, would you share a little bit about if we did have the developer of those cigarette butts speak at an earlier meeting? Christina, would you give a little summary of that project?
Yeah, I think actually, Rebecca, I see you on here. That's a Ask HR Green project, and Wayne Jones presented it a few weeks ago. Rebecca, did you want to take that one?
Yeah, so hey everybody, my name is Rebecca Eastep. I'm with Ask HR Green, also Hampton Roads Planning District Commission. Our Big Butts is was funded in part by a 30 and 30 grant from Keep Virginia Beautiful, and we'll be launching it probably I'd say maybe April at this point. We created about 30 of these big butts that David just described, and they will be displayed all throughout Hampton Roads. And in addition to taking pictures with them to use in a social media outreach campaign, we're also going to couple it with a grant program. So we are going to fund some cigarette receptacles and use them as a grant program for local businesses to give them kind of an action item as well, knowing that not having access to a receptacle is a big barrier in getting the butts in the right place. So we're kind of waiting on like the procurement and getting that up and running, and would like to do a big push on that in the April timeframe. So we'd be happy to come back and do like a formal presentation on that to you guys if there's interest.
Great.
Dan Baxter's my guy.
Well, we'll definitely share this information again. I'd ask that HR Clean Community also put this on the forum. As you all know, the website for Virginia Plastic Pollution Prevention Network has a number of forums where people can share. And so that'd be great, Rebecca, if you guys could go into the forum, share that information. But I also made a note, we will put it in our next announcements. As you know, once a month we send out a digest of announcements, and there's a YouTube video or a video on YouTube that was made by that group, and we will share that again, and it walks you through the steps so you can make your own oversized cigarette butts.
Yeah, you can make them through readily available supplies just from Home Depot, and with a little bit of artistic ability that I do not have myself, but luckily we had some others who they made them turn out really great.
Marvelous, great. So again, any other thoughts or questions? We've got Sarah from Ocean Conservancy here. If you've got any other questions about the data or how they use them or their upcoming report, this would be the time to ask.
I should add real quickly too that any of the data, like if you have any volunteer groups that utilize the CleanSwell app or really send in data via the paper data cards, all of those data end up on an online open access database that anyone can go to find and pull reports, and it can be from any geography. So especially if you're doing work with youth, a lot of student groups will access that information for real world data, working on projects, STEM projects, things like that. And then of course we reference the data constantly and are sending it off for various research projects and for policymakers and things like that. So if you're having struggles getting volunteers to get excited about data, their data are actually used. So I always try to emphasize that when I'm back in the day when we were actually leading cleanup events.
Great, yeah, that's a very good point. In fact, I'm trying to pull up the TIDES database right now to show everybody, but my computer is really slow. So we will be talking more about data at one of our future monthly discussions. So I'll show it to you then. Well, we've got about 15 minutes left. And Christina, you wanted to say something?
Yeah, so part of the discussion on PPE litter that I was hoping we would include some educational campaigns if there are any. I know Tracy from Keep Virginia Beautiful would like to work on one. And Sarah, I don't know if the Ocean Conservancy has like a social media campaign going, or if anyone, I remember one of our first meetings, and I'm sorry, I don't remember which organization it was, showed us a slide of a PPE like post that they had made, or some graphics that they had made. So I was just curious if anyone else has you know, an education campaign going that you know, could be used by this group or might inspire someone to create their own.
I'll pipe in just because you mentioned me. And we did. We, you know, over the summer, it was becoming apparent that was the main type of, you know, trash and litter that we were seeing. And it was just horrifying, number one, because it's contaminated, potentially contaminated. And so that just adds a whole nother level of awful, you know, situation to it. So we did posts that, you know, really everyone took off with all these different things. And we didn't really develop it much further than just literally a few posts with different angles of, you know, different sayings and different pictures of different things. And so this honestly made me start thinking that perhaps since this PPE will be around for months, if not years, we should probably invest a little bit more time into it. So just being in the throes of getting Shiver in Virginia off the ground and a number of other things with VDOT, I just haven't been able to jump back into it, but I have pulled all of it up and I'm reinvigorated by this conversation. So thanks for bringing it up. And if people, you know, any ideas, I don't know that it'll be what anybody and everybody needs, but it can certainly help and add to the toolbox.
Likewise, from Ocean Conservancy, I think we're still just waiting to push out this report and have those data help inform any sort of ed campaigns, messaging campaigns that come from that. And you know, we obviously are trying to work with sound science and wait for the science to catch up with what's happening on the ground. We do realize that it's a time sensitive thing. And if anything, I imagine we'll have some shareable social media graphics and stats that come with this report. So I will be sure to post them on the forum on the network website.
Great, thank you. That was the only question I really had about the pandemic litter part of it. Was I think it would be great if even Virginia kind of had the same message, and you know, whether that's Keep Virginia Beautiful or however it is with the PPE, because it's nasty.
It is. Well, and just from a, you know, I feel like Keep Virginia Beautiful needs to be a bunch of things, just honestly, because it is so broad. It is statewide. It's not just water litter, you know, it's litter of all sorts. We're on the roads, we're in the parks, we're everywhere. And so and we are about recycling and we're about beautification. So we're so broad that sometimes it's a problem. but other times it does feel like we should be, you know, sort of that source for that kind of statewide messaging that everybody can glom onto. And, you know, it just boils down to being a nonprofit like a lot of us are and having a few people. And, but that's really how I think Keep Virginia Beautiful can benefit everybody if we can ever get there.
Well, let's have a conversation about that, Tracy, because earlier this year, Clean Virginia Waterways was speaking with Mark Schwingle at the Virginia Aquarium about doing a series of editorials for local newspapers across the state on this issue. And like everything else, we were just overwhelmed with other projects, but maybe this could be something where a number of organizations can work together.
Absolutely. I
and
love
have a
it.
unified message. Yeah.
That's great.
Okay, so
Because if there's one thing that I know, litter in Northern Virginia is different than Southwest Virginia, and how they deal with it's different, and the beach as well. And so maybe there it should be and could be maybe not regional, but like you said, you know, from the water perspective and from, you know, other perspectives, that'd be great.
Yeah. Well, let's have a conversation. I think that'd be
Sounds
great.
good.
And that's what the network's all about, collaboration. All right. Well, is there anybody that wants to say anything more about addressing PPE litter in Virginia? And if not, I guess we can go to the next item on our agenda, which is anybody who's new here. Is there anybody who this is their very, very first meeting with the network? And if so, we'd love to hear who you're with. And but we only have like maybe 30 seconds to give a little introduction. Did we have some new people here? If so,
I'm new. I'm Fleta Jackson with Keep Norfolk Beautiful. We're part of the city of Norfolk. So we do all the cleanup, litter events, recycling, education, and outreach and beautification events. We're an affiliate of Keep America Beautiful. We are on the Ask HR Green Recycling and Beautification Committee that are working with the Big Butts campaign and photos that you guys were talking about a few minutes ago, and Rebecca shared more information. I'm excited to be here. I came from Stormwater about 3 years ago, so I was familiar with your group then, but I'm glad to be back associated and in the conversation, and I look forward to working together and collaborating and sharing ideas moving forward. So thank you.
thank you for being here.
I'll go next. My name is Sonia Monson, and I'm with Friends of the Occoquan, and we are located here in Northern Virginia. And we do cleanups, rain bear workshops, and community gardens in the Northern Virginia area, and also some in the city of Norfolk because I lived there before. So we've worked with some schools there. So I'm happy to be here.
Anybody else new with us today?
And just me, but I met all you earlier, Sarah Kolar with Open Conservancy. I should say I'm based in Washington, D.C., but I do cross the bridge quite a bit and get into Northern Virginia.
Okay.
And also just a reminder, in case you didn't hop on before we said this earlier, just make sure that your name and organization is in the chat. So we have a list of everyone who is here today. And if you haven't joined our website yet, please do. That's how you get all the updates and meeting invitations. And I'm not sure if y'all saw this, when you do get a meeting invitation through the website, it does give you the option to add it to your calendar, whether it's Google or Outlook or anything like that. So I know when we weren't doing it this way, when we were doing it through Google, everyone wanted that Google calendar. So that still is working. That's all I have. Sounds like committee
We
is.
have just. Oh, go ahead. I was gonna say we have a few minutes for open discussion, which anybody who has something new to share, and I'll start. I just wanted to let you know that the Virginia Marine Debris Reduction Plan, which was first written in 2014, is undergoing an updating process right now. Some of you on this phone call are on our leadership committee, including Sarah and Tracy and Christina and Mark, many others. So we'll be looking at a draft of an update for the marine debris reduction plan, and then rolling it out in about a month for wider input from a wider community of people. If you're interested in learning more about that, you can email me. I'll put my email again in the chat box. And yeah, so it's pretty exciting times. There's also a Mid-Atlantic Marine Debris Action Plan, which is going to be finalized fairly soon. And so basically on a regional level and on a state level, we're working together to come up with actions that we can take to reduce marine debris from consumer waste, from derelict fishing gear, and abandoned boats, and microplastics. And again, if you'd like to learn more, I'll send you my email and you can let me know what your questions are. So any other open discussion topics? Everyone wants to end early. Okay, last call for any open discussion topics that people would like to share.
It sounds like committee has finally started meeting, so everybody wish us luck on getting this balloon bill through and the EPS bill, and oh boy. Here we go.
Bye, everybody.
Good luck.
Thank you.
All right, well, thanks for all for being here today. We do appreciate it, and we will post an edited version of this recording on our website. And we appreciate everybody who spoke today. Thank you so much for sharing. And if you have topics that you would like to have in our future meetings, just send us an email and we will add them to our future meetings. So if there's no other comments, we will see you on March 16th at 2 p.m. All right, thank you all. Thanks, bye-bye.
Thank you.